Hello again, Wired fam. Hope everybody's doing well. Welcome to episode 6 of Becoming a Better Crappie Angler. So, if you have not subscribed, guys, please smash that subscribe button before you leave today. It helps the channel out. It helps all the other crappie anglers out so that they know the channel, you're learning something. We're doing good things at Wired for Crappie. If you smash that subscribe, hit that thumbs up, smash that notification bell, you'll get those notifications for every episode after episode 6 of Becoming a Better Crappie Angler. So what we're going to do today, okay, is we're going to get into techniques now. So we've taught, the basics, what you need to start crappie fishing, the areas you need to start looking, those high percentage areas, how to locate those fish, kind of how to take that basic knowledge of how crappie behave and react to the lake, what to look for on the lake to find those fish. So now we're going to talk a little bit about techniques, okay? So let's talk about techniques. So we touched on dock shooting a little bit earlier in a video, but that was just more or less kind of where to look for them in the fall and the spring, in the winter, summer, pretty much any time of year on docks. I mean, docks, you can find docks with 30 feet on them and find docks with 5 feet on them. So you can normally find crappie on docks, but let's talk a little bit about just the technique. That's what we're going to get into today. The technique of dock shooting, how to make yourself a great Class A dock shooter. So stick with us. We'll be right back. It's going to be a good one. Thanks, guys. Welcome back. So, like I said, today we're going to talk about dock shooting. One of my favorite ways to catch fish is under docks. I love to dock shoot. I'm a dock shooter at heart, always have been. I absolutely love it. I've tried my best to perfect it. I don't know that I ever will. Always something to learn when you're dock shooting. And the number one thing to remember when dock shooting is those fish have some weird sixth sense about getting in the hardest little hole to get to. I don't know why, I don't know how they do it, but I'm telling you right now, fish have a sixth sense that they just know if we get in this little corner, oh, he's not gonna be able to get that jig into us all the way. So it can be very frustrating, but it can also be extremely rewarding shooting docks, getting into those little tight crevices and those little areas. So what we're going to talk about today is equipment that you need to dock shoot and how I practice and how I got better as a dock shooter, okay? So let's talk about equipment first, okay? ACC crappie stick, 6 footer. This is a 6-foot ACC crappie stick. This is the 2-piece. They also have a 1-piece. For me, personal preference, I don't really have one as far as their 2-piece or their 1-piece. I like them both. Do I think one shoots better than the other? No, I don't. I think they've got very similar backbones. What you need, okay, is a rod with a really nice backbone and a very fast tip, okay? Reason you need that fast tip, guys, is because when you pull this jig back, okay, when you pull that back and you load that rod up like that right there, you need that tip to whip when you let go of that jig. That's how you get your distance. Okay, you need that fast tip so you can get that distance on that shot. So 6-foot ACC crappie stick, okay, that is a Fluger Try-On size 25 reel, okay, Fluger Try-On size 25, pairs up with that ACC crappie stick, perfect, all right. Listen, line, you'll hear everybody in the world talk about line, okay. I'm going to tell you what I use and I'll tell you why. I use a Vicious 4-pound test. Okay, Vicious fluorocarbon, Vicious mono, high vis, 4-pound test, okay? You hear guys say they use fluorocarbon, you hear guys say they use braid. I like 4-pound vicious mono. Why do I like 4-pound? Well, the smaller line diameter you have, the smoother it's gonna come off that spool, okay? You start bulking up in line diameter, guys, and it's gonna start binding on the spool. You're gonna get more memory. You're not gonna get nearly as much memory. If you guys can see, I don't have a whole lot of memory in that line. I don't know if you can see it or not, but vicious does not carry a whole lot of memory, okay? So it carries a little, just like any mono would, but it does not carry a whole lot. So it comes off that spool very, very smooth, okay? A size 25 Fluger has a nice size bezel, nice size bail on it, to where it allows that line to sit and it doesn't get too coiled up, okay? It comes off that spool really, really nice. Little bit thinner diameter than most 4-pound tests, and it performs great, okay? High vis is very critical when shooting docks, because when you shoot a dock, okay, listen to me, when you shoot a dock, you need to leave your bail open and let that jig fall. If you close your bail, that jig is gonna come back to you, okay? It's gonna pendulum back to you. You need to leave the bail open when you shoot a dock. Let that jig fall down to wherever depth you think those fish are at, and then start your slow, steady retrieve, okay, guys? So very, very important. Now, let's talk about jig and jig head, okay? It's very important to use a jig and a jig head. This is a 32nd ounce round head with a Bonehead stump bug, purple and chartreuse, okay? If you can see, round head, round bodied jig. It's very important, guys, very important to use something that's going to skip on the water, on the surface. You don't want to use a minnow head. You don't want to use a pill head. You want to use some type of head that is going to skip on the surface. You don't want something that's going to dig, okay? I'll put it to you like this. You know, you go to the river. Is it easier to skip a flat stone, or do you take a big round river rock and try to skip it? What's it do? It just digs into the water. So you need something that's got some area to it that's gonna skip on the lake, okay? You don't want anything that's too sharp that's just gonna dig. You take a flat rock and you skip it on the flat side, it's gonna skip, but if you turn it over upright like this and you try to skip it or you try to throw it in the water, it's not gonna skip, it's gonna dig into the water. So you need to think about that when you're choosing your jig, when you're looking at your jig choices, okay? Again, I use a 32nd ounce 90% of the time. I do use a 16th sometimes if I'm fishing a deep dock. But for the most part, I use a 32nd ounce head, okay? And then a Bonehead tackle stump bug or a Bonehead tackle slim stick are kind of my baits of choice there, all right? So now let's talk about, as you can see, I'm sitting on a bucket, and I've got another bucket down here at the other end of my garage. Pardon my shiplap here. I got a little bit of a project going on here in the shop, so maybe we'll show you guys that at a later date. But got a bucket on one end of the shop. I'm sitting on a bucket, and it's quite easy, guys. Look, okay? It's a timing thing. You know, you want to open your bail, hold your rod. If you're right-handed, left-handed, whichever one you are, hold your rod in your hand, in your dominant hand, whichever one that is, and you want to hold the line with your pointer finger, okay? Hold the line with that pointer finger. Okay, you want your jig about at the first eye on that rod, okay? About at the first eye, right there. You got line in one hand, you got the jig in the other. You want to hold the head of the hook, not the hook itself, the head of the jig, okay, right there. And what you want to do is you want to load this up, okay? You want your rod, or the blank of that rod parallel with the lake, okay? So let's consider the concrete floor here our lake. You want that parallel with the lake, and you just want to shoot, okay? Now, just want to shoot, and that went in the bucket, as you can see. It's not as easy as I just made it sound, guys. There is a lot of timing involved in when do you let go with your pointer finger, when do you let go with the jig. Okay, you've got to make sure, guys, you're not going to hurt that rod, okay? If you put that jig about at that first eye, you should be able to pull it back just about to the end of the rod on a 6-footer. Okay, just about to the end of that rod is where you're going to get most of your distance from, okay? And then right in the bucket. Now, I'm probably about 15 feet from that bucket right now. Not terrible, well, probably about 20 feet. In front of my boat's 20 feet, so we're probably about 20 feet from the bucket. As you get better, you can move that bucket back. You can start out with that bucket closer, okay? But the key is practice, practice, practice. Okay, guys, practice, practice, practice. You want to put it in that bucket, in that bucket. Now, as you get better, you can actually get something smaller. You can get a cup, you can get, you know, a tin can, a Folgers can, you know, you can just keep going down as you get better and better, all right? But practice, guys, just practice. That's going to make you a better dock fisherman, okay? So, with that being said, I hope that helps you guys. I hope that helps you guys kind of understand how to shoot docks, best way to go about shooting docks, some of those little, you know, tips like the line, the jig choice, the bezel on your reel, things to think about before you go to the lake that are going to make you more successful on the lake, okay? Practice makes perfect. Practice at home. I appreciate you guys for watching. As always, God bless, and we'll catch you on the next one.